I knew it was like two somewhere coming up.
Yeah, there's a wedding, there's vacation.
Those are important.
Is there food back here?
There is food, yeah, absolutely.
It's in and done, but like getting them to come in, getting estimates, and then doing duct work, like added a little time that wasn't in. Because otherwise things have been like moving along on schedule.
Cool.
So we will have a
No
triple
Jessica on
situation.
Zoom.
Oh, okay, so you're adding your Zoom for the.
Well, we only had one.
Mary's
Zoom.
there? Okay, good.
And
Oh,
so,
you split the two,
so
okay.
the upstairs was
Ernest
always
is
hot
here.
and the downstairs
Sure,
was always
yeah.
freezing, and so now we will have
Okay,
3, which is
yeah. And so are you putting the door in at the bottom of the,
no.
okay,
We're
Hello,
gonna
Ernest.
put in at
okay.
top, and he's going to do like
Some sort of a music group, it looked like,
situation,
yeah.
so
Like
there's
direct
still,
set
like-
windows.
I don't know who, but
Direct set windows, like it's not gonna be like a whole window unit, it's just kind of putting
Is it
glass
full?
with
Yeah,
a-
it'll be sort of
Full
glassed
frame.
in
Yeah,
up
yeah.
there, and that'll still let
Oh,
light
wow.
come
Of course.
Did you, where did you park?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but he's not gonna do that
Okay.
until everything else
Yeah, I
is
think you
done,
can
and
you can
move
use
all the
Water
furniture
Street and
out.
this will
He was
work
like,
too.
I had to redo the timeline.
Yeah.
He said, because I went up and
Yeah.
looked at
Yeah,
all the
I didn't
giant
expect it
furniture
to
in
be
the attic.
full. That's unusual.
There's a concert next door tonight,
Yeah, apparently.
yes.
It's funny, because I was listening to that parking
Yeah.
book that Josh
Robert
Braun.
Plant and Allison Krauss.
Oh,
Okay.
them,
There's-
okay.
You know Henry
Yeah, so,
Graybar?
and people were already out.
Sounds familiar,
Has a
yeah.
book
Got
on
here at like 6
parking.
and they're already
Right.
all kind of,
And I was
guess
literally
doors
listening to
open at
that on the
6.
way
Okay.
down, and I drove
So,
past in the
yes.
garage, is
Wow.
like,
Might be a little,
there's
Yeah.
no
parking
parking.
Well,
might be a
I
little
know- yeah.
funky.
That could
Came
make
from
the
the other
reason why
direction, I saw
we're not
that
seeing
the-
it.
Yeah.
Pavilion was packed, I was like, oh, I'm sure the parking garage is gonna be, but
Yeah.
not a problem for
I had no
those on
problem.
2 wheels.
I parked right there.
Yeah.
You know what, both of y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I parked right there. Oh, I know.
Actually, we're not on camera, are we? Are we on camera?
Because it's.
I can see you.
Look, there's Mary.
Oh, that's
All right. Where do I want to sit? Do we need to add more tables?
No,
Okay.
we won't have that. There's not that many people. Jessica would be remote,
Oh, really? Okay.
and I believe that's what she said. Let me just confirm. Victoria's not here. Just confirm. Hopefully she's not struggling to get in or something.
This is my,
Oh no, that was June. I don't think she.
this
I
is my
think
bike
she's-
to work activity.
I just got back from Reno, so,
Yeah.
which was lovely for running, but I was very sad. I missed all the ice cream.
Actually, she will be here. 5:18.
Need a napkin
Oh,
or a paper towel?
Thank you.
Okay.
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
When is school done?
First week of June.
First week of June, okay.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody need one of these yet? No? You power walked? Okay.
You can't park in the garage, so.
Yeah, unless you park in the other one.
Yeah, I don't think if I was gonna walk all across the street, they'll go back over this way. That's what I did.
Mary, do you need a parking ticket? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm okay for now. Thanks.
So. Ernest, did you hear anything from Jessica? I got, she's gonna participate
Other
remotely.
than I saw that she was participating virtually.
I think that's at a later date. I think the, today,
I hadn't heard anything from today.
I think she's gonna be here.
You saying she's gonna be in person today?
I believe so. I didn't see anything to the contrary.
I didn't see.
I was getting confused with her request for a future meeting.
Okay.
Just going through email to make sure. Yeah, ad hoc and regular in the month of June. We'll give it a few more minutes.
Yeah, the calendar invite worked, that popped up on my
Good,
thing.
yeah, and I don't know if
Did
you,
you take the full summer off?
can you then use that to like
Usually
populate
do.
whatever
Yeah.
calendar
Are you
you
doing that this
actually
summer?
use?
Oh,
or-
yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
used to take the full summer.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I go to
We
a
just
couple of
saw- I mean, it just
conferences
came up,
and
cause I have,
Okay.
I have
that type of thing, but no.
that thing on my phone.
So it worked that way.
Don't
Yeah.
work summer
Okay,
school
cool.
and all that stuff.
Okay,
Good.
that's, yeah,
I'll keep it up.
nice.
It's nice money
No.
for folk, but
I think
It's also
Either
nice to have a
3 or
couple, a
4
few months off, right, or a few weeks off or whatever, yeah.
for the.
You do get
meeting.
those. I figure, I didn't wanna overdo it, but I
Yeah.
figured you get
It,
those.
it works though.
Which
You always
school
get
do
the
you
Zoom
work at?
reminders, but you
Burnham
never really got
Miranda
like a
Elementary.
calendar
Oh.
placeholder.
Right.
I figured most people were probably just marking it once they got the Zoom reminder. but
I love it.
I'll keep it up,
I,
yeah,
Like, it's so helpful.
very good.
Tangentially know your
We'll
principal.
keep it up.
Lisbon?
Yeah, and what happened, yeah, yeah. This is terrible.
Yep. Yep, yep.
Almost made it to 100 pages.
I know. That annual report, it's big, and we cut as much as we could out of it, and it was still big. It's just the way,
The report?
yeah.
It's pretty
You cut.
easily organized.
The report.
We've been trying to just like
Mhm.
make it as streamlined as possible for the public and anybody who can read it, so digest it.
It also demonstrates how much is going on.
There's a bit going on.
Right. Yeah.
I did learn that you can't, you can take PDFs and you can make the table of contents interactive where you click on the thing and it goes to the page. But if you do that, it makes it inaccessible from an ADA perspective, so we just ditched it.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, you can add alternative text to every
Okay,
indexing and
UDA.
explain what it indexes
A
to.
napkin paper now?
Or you can just not do it. You're like, maybe in the future.
Yeah, it's not
Wait,
foresight,
like,
it's on a
each
message
link
either,
needs
or
a
something.
description.
Yeah,
We
we have to write a description for every graphic. We did that, and then we started indexing it, and it was like, yeah, you need to do it for every indexing. Guess we can do that. Hello, Jeanette. Welcome.
Are y'all called to order?
Nope.
Oh,
no,
really?
We're hanging tight for Jessica.
We know there's, parking is challenging.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I ran into someone who didn't mean to get to the nice parking.
I waved at you, Andy, as he was
Oh.
biking.
Do you need
I felt
this?
very envious.
No, he
of him.
gave me
The lot is so, you're just like, moving along, chill.
he gave me like priority.
You're welcome to try my e-bike.
Oh, my.
I would, but it takes 3 hours
I
for me to
heard
meet
that.
my
That's
bike.
cool. We'll announce that,
So I
right?
just walk when I'm
Thank
in town.
you. Do you need?
Go to my bike, why not? I just get murdered.
Oh, you might. A little rough.
They'll murder me.
No. Mm-mm. None of that.
God, you can scoop it up with Well. Vice Chair Chambers, what do you think we should do? Oh, is that her?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so.
So, yes. Good.
After all this
It worked. All we had to do was ask.
You didn't have to respond?
year. Yeah, it's like opening a book when you're waiting.
Oh.
They lie ever since.
I meant to put labels on the sandwiches, but I forgot. You guys figured it out though.
There were
Looks
some
like-
labels,
There's some sort of label. Just a
phrase
little
say
bit-
fig, and I couldn't read the last one.
Yeah, if you've had, it's like a chicken cheddar fig, a caprese, and a turkey provolone.
Literally couldn't read the other one, yeah.
Where's
That's
it
okay.
from?
Feces.
Said fig, but I couldn't.
I know, that was
Fig and what?
that was the most cryptic one, and I should have.
Yeah.
I meant to tell everyone, but I did not remember doing
Decoding when it comes to sandwiches.
that. Wait, we saw Jessica. She's back here, maybe?
Mhm.
She's
Okay, good.
right
So good.
The restroom. Yeah.
I thought I saw her.
Still a hell of a week.
Yeah, is it? I'll be there tomorrow. Sign up to volunteer.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
If you, yeah, that's all right.
We had to cancel our festival. It's gonna be on Friday. But it was, you know, of course, the right thing to do.
Yeah, come up.
We did last week because of the situation at the school. Yeah, it just wasn't the right timing.
Yeah, it's horrific. I just saw the
We
website.
did the first collaboration with Legal Aid, having them in our
Oh, got
office.
it
That worked out
earlier
pretty
today.
well.
Is it connected to the school?
You know, for the ones that are in Charlottesville General District.
How long were they there, Joe?
A couple hours.
Oh, okay.
Just Carrie Klosko was there, and then DSA folks would just burn them down. It worked out pretty well, I think.
Thank you.
You're welcome. C-well, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, so you came to my ear last year. At one point.
Have not heard from them though. Let's check, let's
Yes.
take a look at their
Oh,
message.
did you want to say I was late? I was trying to park in the garage here, but you know, it was closed.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, I
this
thought it
got
was.
full.
Yep, we walk by
Yeah,
it all
because
the
of this
time.
event.
You live near there?
We live right there, Dairy Market.
I did not either.
So we
I
were,
got passed
we were
by the
like,
other garage. I wish I had known.
loved watching it last year.
I've not heard from Lindell.
He literally said to me, he's like, "You must ask her."
Did you say you sent me a message? Maybe you sent it to my personal cell. That's what I
I
heard.
have two message numbers.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
Oh, yeah, you sent, yeah, you did. You got me.
So that's cool. If you're ever gonna go on Fears there.
Okay, I'll tell you when our day is.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, part of the thing to do that, right?
Yeah. Flexibility.
Yeah.
Oh, great, thank you. Right.
Are we building that back?
Okay,
Do you want to bring this up?
yes.
I can, I don't know that I'm gonna be there, but can you know this is like, are we gonna check it out?
I don't know what's going on that morning, but really the person you want is my husband, and I don't know, yeah. He's the builder. It's,
Everyone ready?
yeah.
All right, we will officially call our meeting to order at 6:44 PM. Roll call.
Well, let's do that. Here we go. Open that spreadsheet. Jessica,
Here.
Ernest,
Here,
Jeanette,
Here.
Mary.
I'm here. Thank you for allowing me to participate virtually. I'm homesick, so didn't want to infect you all.
We appreciate that.
Hope you feel better.
Yeah, hope you feel better.
Wolfgang,
Here.
Catherine,
Here.
Suzanne,
Here.
Andy,
Here.
and we don't see Lindell, but maybe we'll see her. So we'll hold that.
All right, let's recite our mission. Act as a
strong
strong advocate to justice and equal opportunity by providing citywide leadership and guidance in the area of civil rights. For members of the public participating virtually, if you experience technical difficulties, I can use my words, you may call 434-970-3115. That's 434-970-3115, and a staff person will assist you.
And the staff person that posted this posted it incorrectly. It's now 3027 because it needs to go to my phone. Sorry.
Okay, can you recite it all?
Yep, that would be 970-3027, 434-970-3027. My error on the changing the agenda. Oh, Remy, it's gotta be in the screen. Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
Okay, do we have any public comment?
We have one participant. If you'd like to raise your hand, or if you'd like to speak now, click raise hand in the Zoom webinar, or press *9. Okay, no hands raised at this time.
Ma'am, do you have a comment? Okay. All right, so then there's no commissioner response. Now we're going on to our minutes to approve. So we need to approve February 2nd HRC committee meeting minutes. Did you do roll call?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jessica, did you say February?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay,
We had a lot of backlog of minutes.
okay, I just
We
want to
hit
make
the
sure I,
retreat, And then we forgot to circle back and hit all the minutes that we didn't do before the retreat.
okay.
All right. We ready for a vote on that?
Mhm.
Okay. Let's see, here we go. Jessica,
Abstain.
Ernest,
Yes.
Jeanette,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes,
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Abstain.
Andy?
Sorry, is this the February? regular
February
meeting?
2nd. February 2nd, let me
weren't here to
switch
abstain.
screens real quick.
Yeah, you weren't here yet.
February 2nd, committee meeting.
At
It was
our-
ad hoc, yeah.
Don't believe I abstain.
Yeah, I don't think, you were not there.
Right.
Okay, abstain.
It was ad hoc.
All right.
Now we need to approve February 16th, yes, I'm saying February 16th, 2023, HRC regular meeting minutes.
All right. Jessica,
Abstain.
Ernest,
Yes.
Jeanette,
Approved?
Mary,
yes,
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Catherine,
Abstain.
Suzanne,
Abstain.
Andy.
Yes.
Okay.
Now we have to approve the March 2nd, 2023 HRC committee meeting minutes.
And Jessica,
Approve.
Ernest,
You were present.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
I just looked it up.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, yeah.
very good. Jeanette,
Abstain, thank you.
Mary,
Yes,
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Catherine,
Abstain?
Suzanne,
Abstain.
Andy.
Abstain.
Okay.
Next, we have to approve the April 20th, 2023 HRC regular meeting minutes.
And here we go. Jessica,
Approve.
Ernest,
Approve.
Jeanette,
Abstain?
Mary,
abstain,
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Abstain.
Andy.
Yes.
Okay. Did we do it?
We did it. And
Thanks,
Lindell
everyone.
is on her way. She probably
Oh, very good.
experienced the same thing I did, but we need to move seating for her.
Yeah, we can do that. I'll have a table and just sit on the end.
And just share mics, I guess. Okay. I'm gonna slide her.
Oh, thanks.
So chair updates, I don't have anything because we have a long report for Todd to go over, so I will yield my time to Todd to go over the staff report.
Well, thanks. Yeah,
And then the annual report.
sure. And as far as like monthly staff report, I didn't do the usual monthly thing because I didn't want to overwhelm you with yet more numbers, so, because since we have the 2022 annual report. Not many things to update you with generally. You know, Victoria's still out, she's gonna be coming back, I think by next week, so that's a good thing. So we'll be a team again. I think, yeah, not much else to share with you. We've just been doing the things that we do. Have had some complex navigational things lately that have taken up some time, but we're holding it together okay, so that's good. As far as the 2022 report, it's included in there. I think I mentioned in the email that you've seen the commission pieces of that. Maybe we may have made a few edits after that just to clean up some stuff, but it should be basically the same as what you saw in the retreat. The rest of it is just a summary of the data that you see all year in the monthly report, just broken out in new ways to show comparative things and give some analysis. So, and then of course we have some executive summaries at the beginning and a conclusion thing at the end. I don't need to go through the whole thing unless you really want me to, but my question would be, do you have questions or suggestions for changes? Where this sits now is it's on the process for getting this on council's agenda, and this is kind of a new thing, is that we post it to Civic Clerk, which is the same system we use for our own public postings, but there's an approval process that takes about a month to get it on council agenda. So it's already in that approval process, but that doesn't mean that we can't make edits if we need to. But I should probably get those in there pretty quickly. I wanted to give you guys a chance to look at it. So.
Are there any highlights that we need to?
I think if you wanted to look at takeaways, I think we discussed it in the retreat, but, you know, if there's any questions you have, I did make a summary. I think the chart, the summary chart was also included in the retreat thing. I don't remember off the top of my head. But there is kind of a key takeaways section in the executive summary for both the HRC and the OHR. I would look at those as kind of like a guiding thing, if you had any questions about the particulars there. But again, I don't think there's any surprises. You probably noticed that, you know, a lot of the things are the same. You know, more incoming contacts, 60% more than in the history of the office just last year. Or, I'm sorry, 60% more than the previous year, just last year. So that was a lot. You know, housing still remains the primary thing that we hear about, second to employment, and then public accommodation, that kind of stuff. We were also tracking navigation, contacts that don't involve a complaint, but just people trying to get guidance through complex resource systems. And we're increasing that tracking this year with also classifying the specific navigational service and the time spent doing it, just so we can provide that data to city managers and say, if we're doing this, maybe that could be helped by another organization or department, just to inform that about where are there service gaps in the system. So, I don't know. Any other things like that? That's a very, very high level overview of like the takeaways from the office. But there we are. Yeah.
Do we also track collaborations with other services and things like that?
Yeah. So that's in the kind of one of the later sections there.
Okay.
We had like 57 different collaborators in 2022,
Okay.
and those are all listed in there. I guess we're going to still use the same tracking system for that's like outreach type collaboration. In terms of referrals, that's also tracked kind of separately because it's service provision rather than outreach and collaboration that way. We're going to increase the tracking component for referrals by adding every single. Right now we do like we count the five primary referral agencies like Legal Aid Justice Center, Central Virginia Legal Aid, Attorney General's Office of Civil Rights, EEOC, and then the Virginia Fair Housing Office to see, those are like our five most similar collaborators. But we do a lot of referrals through the navigation and advocacy piece to other organizations that we don't track the numbers on. So in 2023 right now, we have added them to this master spreadsheet list. And so now we'll actually track the numbers that go to all of the different organizations so we can report on that as well.
Awesome.
So yeah, definitely watching all that stuff, because it informs for us, like, what are we doing, right? Because we do it kind of at the rapid pace that we do, and then it's really helpful to go back and go, okay, when the dust settles, what did we just do, and what are the trends, right? So, yep.
And I think it'll help inform us as well as we're trying to champion behind different organizations that are doing things here in the city.
True.
If we know what's going on and where the trends are and things like that.
Yep.
So,
So, do you think the increase in demand for your services is related to better outreach, or do you think it represents a real uptick in mostly housing, I guess?
Yeah.
issues? Is it a post-pandemic?
I think there was definitely a surge post-pandemic. Obviously, when we reopened the office in person back in June of -- it was like,
Yeah.
I think it doubled then tripled, like almost instantly.
wow.
In 2022, I actually don't know why it was so much higher than 2021. I really don't. I think that part of what we're seeing perhaps is people trying to navigate the support systems in town and struggling a little bit. And so we were so easy to access, right? Like where we were around the corner, and where Inez is now. We need to do an introduction at some point. We were just very, very easy access. People would just walk up to the window and dong, 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 right? And even if they didn't know what we were, and sometimes they were looking for something else, but then they would just come in and we guide them to here, there, or the other, right? So I think part of that was that. I'm going to be really interested to see. I think the numbers are already a slightly bit lower this year in the new space because with our partners like Home to Hope and the Job Center, we can more quickly triage things, and sometimes they're a better partner, and so we can redirect more quickly. So we'll just see. Yeah, it's hard. I don't think we have like I can't think of a good measure to say like why is it higher this year as opposed to last year.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess what I'm wondering is some of what you're talking about, like, is it, should we be telling the city they need to be funding someone to be a navigator or something?
So
I mean, I think you do a
that-
great job of it,
Yeah.
but also you have a lot to do.
That is a great
Yeah.
point. Well, part of the reason we're tracking specifically the services this year that we're providing when we navigate and the time spent by each staff person, so we can give you actual dollar figure amount to say, like, this costs this when we do this. That's outside of what we are mandated to do by the ordinance. And I think that, key takeaways for me, and this is anecdotal, but you could probably back it up with data, and in 2023, we'll be able to do that easier. The lack of accessible mental health care, huge, absolutely huge. The lack of emergency housing support linked to that mental health care piece, also huge. And then, of course, lack of affordable housing for the long term. So mental health, emergency housing, and affordable housing generally are reasons that people come because they're desperate and the resources aren't there. It's sort of like it's a vacuum, and so they're hitting everything that they can. And even for the resources that exist in those realms, they're hard to get into, and so a lot of times we're helping people get into an intake at Region 10 or maintain that connection at Region 10 or at the Haven or whatever it happens to be, negotiating with CRHA and a landlord. Those are just examples, but yeah. So those are the kinds of things that could lead to development of more services either in the nonprofit sector or in the city sector. Yeah,
And then I have one more question.
yeah, go.
So I get that housing is sort of the biggest piece of what you do.
Yeah.
I think housing is the biggest probably crisis, but do you think that, that you see so many fewer complaints in the other realms because of how narrowly drawn this statute is or the ordinance is, and is that something we should be thinking about?
So that's a good question. So the ordinance really can't go beyond what state law does, right? So the ordinance derives its authority from state law, the Virginia Fair Housing Law, and then the Virginia Human Rights Act, and then which also derives its authority from the Federal Civil Rights Act, Fair Housing Act, and so forth, and the ADA. So I think it's as broad as it can be, I guess. part of what what amounts to a complaint is really specific, right? And I think we've gotten way more complaints, I think, in the last few years than we had maybe when I first started. The complaints themselves have been up, most of which are resolved through mediation or some other form. But I think continued outreach so that people understand, one, what are the protected activities? I mean, I think some of the things like, for example, public accommodation, it's one of those things that people are probably experiencing public accommodation discrimination, but it's just like, it's so commonplace for some, that it's just like, meh, I can't do anything about that. And so outreach around that and education around that would be important. For example, that's why we're making the animated video with the sort of explanation of the different things and what we do, to hopefully post and get in different places. But I think that's one component of it. I mean, I'd like to believe that maybe there's not that much discrimination, but you don't know. I mean, we don't know what we don't see. And I think if we enter into, say, the FAP work share, we're going to see the things that are getting reported to the federal or state offices that we're not seeing currently, because it's just they're not referred back to us because we don't have the work share. Same with the FIPA. Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. Hopefully that's helpful. Yeah.
Oh, did you have a question?
No, keep going.
I thought you were just. First of all, it's an amazing report. It's really thorough. And I have two questions. One is, I see it's based on a calendar year.
Yes.
Is that typical for the department reports, or do they typically report on the fiscal year of the city?
That's a great question. So they were, when I came in and started looking at what the previous examples were, it was always calendar year, so I sort of stuck with it. I guess we could change it to fiscal year. There's no reason really why we couldn't. It just, because we've done it that way,
Yeah.
we just kept it that way, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm just curious about how that would affect your potential for asking for funding?
Yeah.
The timeline of that, of when your report is due?
Right, and I think that there's no due date for any of the reports.
Yeah.
And part of like and I think I mentioned this in the email that, Jessica and I worked on some of the revisions that we talked about in the rules and procedures, and I did add one more in between since we last talked, because I did finally submit our first quarterly report to council. They didn't ask for it, but they put it in the ordinance 2 years ago, so I said, okay, I'm gonna give it to you, so you can, we can start that. And, it says they're gonna develop operating procedures where it will establish a schedule, and I said, well, here's the schedule based on the calendar year. So, I kind of established that, drafted a little bit to put in the rules and procedures about it, just so it's codified somewhere, that we have a procedure. This year was the first time, I think, since I've been here, and when Charlene was still director, that we actually got a date. They asked us, hey, do you want to present to council? I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And they really worked with us to say, well, how about, what month would be good? I said, they said, how about May or June? I said, how about June? And we should have everything set. So as far as when funding comes around, that's why we track the data on a monthly basis. So I'm ready to talk about it whenever they want to have the budget meeting, which is typically November.
Right,
Yeah, so it's kind of this weird,
Yeah.
like, even if you were on the fiscal year, it's still kind of weird,
Yeah.
right? So,
And it gives you a good 6 months to compile all your data before you need to ask for funding.
yeah, yeah.
My second question was like, do you know, you may not know this, but if any other departments do this thorough of a report? I know I haven't seen anything like this from the police department, for example.
I don't,
And I'm just wondering if there are any other.
For example.
I don't know. It's a good question. That I should be more curious, to be honest. Like, I kind of thought about, like, looking at some of the other departments just to see how they do it. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I just find it so helpful
Yeah.
for my own, like, okay, what are we doing and where is this pointing? That it's useful
And
for
for
us. So that's
historical
what we do.
data for others, right?
Indeed,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you. It's very well done.
Thanks. Any other questions on it?
Yeah, I agree. It was wonderful to read. Feels like a model. I also had a question. You mentioned in there that you also serve some folks from Albemarle.
Yeah.
And how does that, I'm just curious how that plays out. I mean, I appreciate, I
Sure.
saw you also wrote that there may be a need for services
Yeah.
in the county.
Yeah.
But how does, are there services in the county? No.
No,
Okay.
I mean, okay, so let me kind of explain. So
Yeah, I'd love
there
to.
is no Office of Human Rights or Human Rights Commission in the county.
Okay.
And our jurisdiction extends only to the geographical borders of the city,
Mhm.
right? So, that said, when something comes up where somebody presents, not necessarily a complaint, but a concern that involves resources that cross city-county borders, I'm in the middle of one of those right now that's been really, really intense, right? Sometimes they get involved because, especially if somebody's a member, engaged in protected activity and member of multiple protected classes or
Yep.
even a single protected class, it just seems, and I see that there's a struggle there that we could potentially address. I get involved. Now, that could be, that's a double-edged sword because it also takes away from the things that we could be doing that are under the ordinance. So it's a little challenging. What we can do when there are actual complaints or an allegation of discrimination in the county or anywhere really, and they come to us, we can refer them to the state and federal agencies that do have jurisdiction. So that's kind of the extent of it, but.
I mean, when I read it, it feels like the right thing to do, in terms of if there are other reasons where you see that you should be involved. And it is interesting to think about, and I don't know, and it's not up to us to track it, but I don't know how often people from Albemarle are engaging and utilizing
Yeah.
our office versus, is that in here?
It's in here.
Okay.
Yeah. Our office versus directly going to a state agency. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
All I know is how often they're coming to us.
Yeah.
I don't know how often they're going
Yeah.
there first.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're being pointed to us before going to state office, or do they not know that we're just based in the geographical area of Charlottesville City?
Yes, and because I think sometimes somebody will say, "Well, you should talk to the Office of Human Rights. They may be able to guide you." And I think that knowledge of like the Virginia Fair Housing Office sits within the Department of Professional Occupational Regulation of the state. Like, who knows that stuff, right? So it's like same with like most people don't know that the Attorney General's office has an Office of Civil Rights that handles employment and public accommodation. It's just not widely broadcast, and so I think it's good if somebody comes to us because we're findable or because they met us somewhere or heard about us, and then we can say, oh, I think that's a very valuable service, I would say, is to be
Yes.
able to connect them to the appropriate office that they may not know about otherwise.
Agree.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mary, do you have anything?
Nope.
Todd, side note, Lindale is trying to find parking, but there is none, and that's,
Oh.
I was also struggling the same
Yes,
thing.
yes.
Can she be granted just to zoom in, if she literally can't find parking?
Because you can't find parking. Has she tried the Water Street Garage?
Yeah, that's what I told her, she said it's backed out.
It's backed out
Yeah, and
too.
and it just changed 10 minutes ago, because there were spots open, but,
Wow, that's a great question. If the
like, you can't
I
physically
would
get
say,
here.
I would say state code doesn't really address the fact that if you can't physically access your
There's a concert.
your
next
meeting
door.
space, that's a great question. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm gonna grant her just to do it in Zoom.
Even if she just listened in, maybe, right?
I mean, even if her vote doesn't count, she can
Right.
certainly.
Yeah, we could say that, like maybe as a non-voting participant, she could be here. Oh, that's so frustrating. Thanks.
What's the number to call in?
She should have this.
Oh,
Yeah.
The Zoom link, or
well, she's
Yeah, use the
driving.
Zoom
she's
link.
gonna do the
Oh,
Zoom
she's
number.
gonna do it from
I can tell, I think from
Yeah, do
here.
the Zoom link.
Have to look at email. Wow, what an interesting conundrum. I never would
I
have
thought the same. I was
anticipated
like,
this.
do I give up and turn around? But there is parking.
You found some.
Yeah, everybody's going on.
Well, I live too far for an e-bike, and I have children. So.
Let's see if, Remy, do you know if on the Zoom invitation, it gives the phone number? Oh, here we go.
I don't think it does.
It does, actually.
It does? Okay, great.
You can join, oh, it gives you a whole bunch of numbers. How about I read the first one? Would that be helpful? Are you in communication with her right now, Jessica?
Yeah, she said just to send her the Zoom link, so I know we're not supposed to do that, but I can just send her my Zoom link, she'll just log in and see it.
I suppose, I think it won't be a problem since you're not logged in, right?
Well, I
Right?
am, but I just, so I don't have to keep turning my neck to see Mary,
Okay.
but I just sent it to her. But you can also give me the number. I I'm ready.
Oh, yeah, the number that's listed first is, 267-831-0333. That's an interesting conundrum.
So, I don't want to penalize her for not, she's trying to get here, so just want to communicate that. I had a couple questions for you, Todd.
Yes.
So there was, so first, we're presenting this to city council, and it's in their, like, approval, when will we know that you're approved to speak to city council?
Oh, so it's approved, it's already on the agenda.
Okay.
What, the approval process now is that, okay, so like, the agenda item got posted a while, like, number of months ago, and then there's a deadline by which you have to start attaching stuff, and I thought it was actually the 16th, but the 16th was just to get it on the agenda, which had been on the agenda for a long time, so that was good. So I went ahead and posted all the attachments before the 16th as well, just to like, because I didn't want to be behind. But Keena said that you can still refine your attachments, but they still go through an approval process. So I think our approval chain is Allison Davies reads it over for legal stuff, and then Michael Rogers will eventually approve it for, I guess, yes, the materials are good to go. So I assume I'll just hear probably within the next week or so that everything's good to go. But if we have changes, that's mainly where I want to make sure that you had the opportunity to look at
So
it.
when do you plan to present this, Todd?
It's June 5th, and I think it's at the 4 p.m. like work session or whatever they call it.
Do you need me to be there for that? Could I join
I was-
virtually though? Because I won't be physically here in the city.
I think you could, because it's not our meeting, it's
Okay.
their meeting, so you could just join. And I think that if you can't make it in, I don't anticipate putting any presentation pressure on you, but if they had a question of you,
Yes.
it might be good to be available
Yeah, okay.
as a Zoom
4 p.m.
panelist.
So
Yeah.
so that was my first question.
Yeah.
The second one was, we had a couple of HRC resolutions and recommendations to city council that we never heard back on. Is this a time to mention that again, or?
You could, if there are resolutions that you'd want
presenting
feedback
it,
from
will
them.
you?
Yeah, can you, how about this? You can tell me which ones you'd like me to follow up on and we can do so.
Well, the two that caught my mind, but I'm opening to everyone,
Mhm.
was just our recommendations that we gave them a long time ago about, the Albemarle Charlottesville Regional Jail.
Mhm.
Just the recommendations there, because we put a lot of time and energy into that.
Mhm.
And then the recommendation, for the, citywide language access plan.
Yeah, and I can give you an update a little bit on the language access plan, because I know that that fell into Ashley's lap. And so she has now, like, she did like a department, survey to find out like what language access tools are you currently using, what are your deficits, that sort of thing. And then I think she's in a procurement process, because we need to find somebody who can provide what we need, and then develop a plan for us, because it's a big thing. And then we need a dollar figure as to how much it's gonna cost to do like language line citywide, or whatever it happens to be, to make that work. So I think that's in the works. Maybe the best question might be for Ashley to follow up, like, ask where, I can send her a message, like,
Okay.
where are we at with that process. I'll make a note of that now, actually. And then with the jail one, that was mostly around COVID safety, right? And so what, is there just maybe you're curious about a response as to what are they doing now, kind of thing, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am, that's what I have to do. Renovation. Okay. And the next, Todd, is we had to push it because we didn't have staffing for the FAP agreement, but now you do have staffing?
Partially, yeah. I can talk a little bit about that, because what's kind of interesting is we write the 2022 annual report, even though I have new knowledge.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, because I'm writing this thing in the past and I know new things, but I can't put the new things in the old report. And so FAP, I have to do more revisions to the ordinance. And so my task was to get through this, my plan was to get through the 2022 annual report, which is kind of the huge writing project for the office at the moment, get that through council, and then I'm gonna start working on all the FAP amendments to the ordinance again. So like HUD gave us more feedback, and they're like, actually change this, this, and this, and then, so I'll make those changes, run them through HUD one more time, run them through legal one more time, then get on city council's agenda through 221s, and then finally an agenda item again. So my best guess is that's gonna be in the fall at the earliest, just because I have to go through all those steps.
So I mean, is this something worthwhile to just put on their radar again, just to say that this is gonna come?
Yeah, I think they're gonna ask me about it anyway. It's in the, 2022 report, there's kind of like a summary of steps taken thus far. And then I have a feeling they're gonna ask about it. I'm probably gonna make like a little PowerPoint to highlight the main things in the report, which I haven't built that yet. The team and I will work on that, but, I think part of what I wanna do in that PowerPoint is say, and here's the 2023, like, blurb that you should know, like, right now.
As you develop that, can I see?
Yeah,
Okay.
certainly, and if you wanna contribute to it, please,
Yes, I'd
yeah.
love to. Okay, no
Uh,
problem.
Yeah, I should give credit, like the whole team contributed to this report. It's like not just me writing this thing. We had an editor, everybody's kind of contributing to it. So it's really great to have a team to work on it, so.
And my last question, is there any other things that you're planning on, like, presenting that should be on our radar for city council?
Let's see. At this particular report time, you mean, or in the future?
At this report time?
No, just the report and like answer, I can never anticipate all the questions that may come, but I think that I would present the report with some general updates, as to like, here's where this stands now in 2023 at present. Yeah, I think the big one probably is they're gonna ask maybe about the investigator thing, now that had gotten some media coverage as well, after they passed the budget, and people saw that was coming out, so, yeah, and figuring out, we've been kind of talking in different ways about how to meet the need now versus in the future, and how do we, we're just trying to think about like training up our current staff to do some of the investigative work that's currently underway, and then preparing for the FAP by like being strategic about when we hire the investigator. There's a lot to think about in that, so, I'm sure I'll get asked that question, so I'm kind of formulating my plan. I'm kind of waiting for Victoria to come back to talk it through with her as well, so.
All right, when I plan to attend, I just register as an attendee?
I think that would work, and then they can promote you to a panelist,
Okay.
if you wanna speak and that sort of thing, yeah. Does that seem good to you in terms of, or did you wanna be there in person?
I won't physically be
You
here.
can't be, right, cause you're away, like,
I'm away.
that's right,
Yeah.
so perfect.
Is that June 5th?
June
Fourth.
5th, yeah,
Oh,
June 5th, I think that's right.
June 5th at 4.
It's kinda in my head as June 5th.
I switched around.
I hope I don't show up and I'm the only one there, that would be bad.
So it's 4? It's not doing a regular,
It's 4 o'clock. They have these like sessions now.
Yeah,
Regular business starts at 6:30 with the, readings and consent agenda and all that stuff. But then they've now held, this is like new developments, like that little section at the beginning for reports to council that don't need like a vote on anything.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's pretty neat. They think they really like increase the ability to schedule this stuff. There she is.
it's field days.
Welcome, Lindell.
I do wasn't
And sorry, just for a quick clarification, what is?
Sorry, I was muted.
Oh yeah, sure. Sorry, yeah, you missed that whole journey. This is great. This is good practice for me to explain it in concise form. So,
Okay.
FAP, FHAP, Fair
Okay.
Housing Assistance Program. In a nutshell, it is a work share agreement with the Federal Fair Housing Office through Housing and Urban Development, HUD, in which they would refer any cases that are jurisdictional to our office that either came to the Virginia Fair Housing Office or to their federal office in DC. They'd send them back to us, and then we'd collaborate on the resolution. The reasons for doing this are multifold. First, we can handle more things locally that way and make sure that people don't have to go far away. Even if they didn't realize that we were here, they'd get referred back to us. Number two, there's financial incentives involved because we get some startup funding from HUD to build capacity, which is great. And then, once we're fully up and running in the FAP, we get reimbursement for cases depending on how they're resolved through either a conciliation, administrative closure, or a full determination, and ultimately like a court case. So it's a significant increase potentially in workload. We don't actually know. We're actually working on, and one of my interns is working on a FOIA request to HUD to see how many jurisdictional complaints ended up in the state and federal office. So hopefully we get that data ahead of June 5th, so that when we're talking about the need to hire and why and the timing and all that, we can talk a little bit more about strategy there and the reasons behind it. So that's it.
Thank you.
And the other one, FEPA, F-E-P-A, Fair Employment Practices Agency, is basically the same kind of thing, but with the EEOC. You get much less in terms of financial support to start off, and the reimbursement rates for cases are much lower. So we prioritize the FAP, one, because it's a huge amount more work because we have to amend our ordinance to do it, and two, because the incentives are there to do it financially.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Todd? Mary Lindell?
No, thank you.
All right, we're gonna move to the HRC rules and procedures update. Todd, you said you added in
Yeah.
some things.
And maybe that's a good one to actually just go through line by line and say, are we good with that? And then you could do a vote.
Okay.
Does that seem right? Okay. And here we are back. We need like Martha's rules somewhere on the wall, because I can't
do.
remember them yet. Catherine, are you gonna be our Martha's rules expert if we?
Oh my gosh, I'm like the worst person to do that,
It's on page 40.
but.
It's on page 40.
That's the chair's responsibility, but.
Is that really where it is? It is there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right there, yep.
Okay. I'm getting there myself. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'll just go through the changes as they are in here, and then if you have questions and further revisions, we can do it. Otherwise, I think you could move for a vote and make it happen. So scrolling past the first page, no changes there other than the little date that it was last amended. We will change once we amend it. If we get to number 3, meetings, which I guess is on the second page of the rules and procedures, this is the language that we changed last time, and just Jessica and I worked it out afterward just to make sure we had it straight. So we basically changed the annual meeting to an election meeting, and basically you can probably see the changes there, but just making sure that we note that the first meeting of the commission in the month of January will be the election meeting in which we elect our new officers, and then adding in as 3.2 a strategic planning meeting, because these things were sort of merged before. Annual meeting, election was all at the same time. Now we're saying specifically we're going to have a strategic planning meeting in which which is the first regular meeting of the month of March each year, which we timed with the appointment of new commissioners, so that everybody can be involved, and that's the point at which you'll adopt your work plan for the ensuing year. So there's that change, and that was 3.2.
So Todd, on
Yeah.
3.2, it keeps referring to,
Did I miss something?
it just says regular meetings shall be held on the 3rd.
Oh, is that still in there?
Yeah.
Oh, that looks like a little
Last
cut and paste
Tuesday.
thing. That's just a typo thing. Okay, let me fix that. So, regular meetings. Is that where, oh, I knew what happened? I think it ate the one that was below it. So what I need to do is hit return there, and then it will give that'll make regular meetings a 3.3.
Yeah.
Thanks. Good eye.
Strategic planning, regular discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so rules and procedures fixes. Thanks you for seeing that. My eyes get tired, and I'm just like, yeah, that's good, but
No. What happens when you've been looking at something for a long time?
yeah. I'm just gonna make a note for regular. Okay, very good. Thank you for that. Any other notes on that? Any other changes? Okay. Zooming on down. Under 4, Martha's rules are just highlighted to remind us that we were going to talk about it because we approved them back in February of 2020. We wanted to make sure that we reviewed them again, which Catherine did for us last meeting, to say, do we want to make any additional changes to this before saying, yeah, that we're going to take those on? So that highlight will just go away. Here, 4.5.1, we added in the ad hoc committees to replace standing committees because we didn't have the standing committees. We haven't for, golly, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years, really 4 years, I guess, now. And so just reflecting that change in how we go about business. And now I think we're even doing it differently. Like, we don't have ad hoc committees, but this preserves the ability to form them as needed. Now we've just been doing work sessions in which we work on what we need to work on. So, and the work session piece is actually already in the rules and procedures as a meeting type, if you notice that above at the top, so.
Todd,
Yeah,
I apologize, I haven't noticed this in one of the previous versions, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
up above in 4.1, and I'm sure it's throughout, or maybe it was 4.2.
4.2.
The second sentence, the chair of the commission, or in his or her absence, the vice chair. Could we make that gender neutral?
Absolutely, thank you for catching that. I think we caught a lot of
Yeah.
the gendered language, but we're gonna, thank you so much for that. We'll do there, thank you. And if you see any more of those, maybe I'll do a find
Control
replace,
S,
yeah, yeah. Thank you. And I think we did that on the ordinance. I think we've been successful on that
Yeah.
one. Good. Great. Anything on the ad hoc committee piece? Okay. And zooming on down, this is the new thing that I added, number 7, was just to say, this is when we're gonna do quarterly reports, this is when we'll do annual reports. Looks like I need to add a space between 7.1 and 7.2.
Do you need to state like that was requested by city council?
What
You've
did I
done
put
it-
in?
I mean, you've done it everywhere else, like city council said.
Yeah, let me look at, I could just refer back to the ordinance per section da-da-da-da in the ordinance.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep,
just for consistency's sake, because you kind of do it in other places.
do I?
Can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah,
Is doing those quarterly reports,
yeah.
is that just essentially getting ahead of, so that your annual report, you can just smush together the quarterly reports, or is it actually adding an entirely new task?
Well, no, sort of. So,
Yes and no.
yes and no.
Maybe.
So when I started doing the monthly reports for us, like, well, and I had this discussion with Sina back when she was on council, and she said, how about you just send us one of those just quarterly? Just take the one that you send to commission and send it. So I'm gonna do those anyway for you all and for my own purposes, just to like summarize my brain every month. All this, it's not really that much work to make those.
Okay.
And I'm trying to synthesize like the materials I use to build those with the annual report so that I can just cut and paste and move stuff around. So not really, it's just reformatting the same stuff basically.
It's all drawing from the same content.
It's all drawing from the same content. Yeah, it's all drawing from big databases that we then change the presentation to fit the venue. I also have to write like monthly reports to the city manager, which are a different format. So those, it all kind of fits together, but I'm just trying to like, as much as it just can be pulled and dropped, the better, yeah.
Can you just give us your monthly reports to city? Like, I hate the idea that you're spending so much time having to put together these reports, especially since I think these quarterly reports, like, nobody really thought about it. And I don't know, honestly, that anybody actually wants them. You know what I mean? That was like a very weird
True.
and inexplicable decision that happened.
It's,
So,
it's a good question. It's in the ordinance. It's not that hard to do.
Okay.
And part of it is too, like with our monthly report, I want to add, you know how I have the annual report broken down by section in the ordinance, right, that it applies to? I want to do that with this as pertains to the commission stuff, because that goes in the annual report anyway, and you'll be able to see, like, where are you at on a monthly basis with, like, stuff that relates to each one of those sections in the ordinance. Does that make sense, Jessica? I'm trying to read your expression.
Well, I'm just frowning at you, it's a lot.
It's what it will look like. Let's just say what it will look like in future reports. Like the next month's report, you'll just basically get one of those big charts that I have, not the multicolored one, but the the green one with the 4 boxes across that reports commission activities, all in one chart, but broken down, you can just see like per section. I will put it all in one rather than breaking it down like I do in the annual report. And then when it comes to the annual report, we split it up by section because we're inserting the office's stuff as well, if that makes sense. It's not, I know, it's some work, it's not a huge amount because it's just derived from the same base reporting structure. And the more we refine it, the easier it gets.
Okay. I just wanna help you not have to do as much
Thanks.
bureaucratic stuff, so we can be doing more like actual,
Always appreciated.
yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think it's efficient at the moment, and I've got a good team, which is part of the reason it works. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I noticed that the references you keep referencing are the VA code
Oh, the
section,
VA
so I guess you
code.
don't have to reference our
Okay.
ordinance.
Yeah, I think I actually typed the ordinance section reference in, and
Yeah,
I
I
started
think you did a
scrolling
couple
around,
of them.
and I was like, oh, maybe I don't need that, and so I deleted it.
But-
What do you think? I can add it or not?
I think it doesn't hurt, just,
Okay, yeah,
I mean, if it takes you like a minute to do, I
It-
don't think it hurts.
yeah, I'll do it. It's not,
Not
I'm
to
gonna
add
be,
to your plate for.
I'm gonna be in there anyway, like fixing the other little things that are in there, so. My computer timed out, let me log back in.
So you're saying you've just added in the reports section 7.1 and 7.2,
Yeah, those are the new pieces.
and then what's next?
And then next is,
Actually, I had a
oh.
question about the report section still.
yeah,
So I noticed it says the commission shall make quarterly reports, rather than like director of the Office of Human Rights.
I know.
Are you like representing us in that, or like are we
As
supposed
the
to be making the report?
director of the commission, it's
Yeah.
it's that funny language that's in
Okay.
there. We didn't amend the ordinance to change that. Those were some of the those are some of the things I said. Here are the kind of unusual things that got added to our report. Do we want to change them? We didn't. We were like, meh.
Okay.
Council didn't want to change it, so there it is. I think it by default, however it goes, I can report
Delighted
it.
to have you represent the commission. That's fine. Just
For
making
now.
sure that
I don't
language
speak
was
on behalf
accurate.
of the commission, but I can
Yeah.
report what the commission is doing.
Gotcha. And then the other thing, even though you seem very self-motivated to put out the quarterly reports, would be interested in changing the language from shall to may to offer yourself flexibility in the future?
It's in the ordinance as shall.
Ah.
I can't change that.
Then I back away slowly.
I know.
Nobody asked for it, and they just did.
So it goes. But we adapt. We go, okay, this is what's expected. How do we make it work? And we make it work. And I'm trying to what's the silver lining? Well, I mean, if I'm doing this stuff, then I know what we're doing all the time. I can really easily, if anybody asks a question, we can tell them.
And at
So,
least it brings the Human Rights Office top of mind to council.
Indeed,
At a minimum.
indeed.
Yeah.
You do a well adapting, Todd.
Yeah, I try
You do it very gracefully.
I try to adapt.
No, seriously,
Thanks for that question. Yeah, on the.
we appreciate you and your team, is what I'm trying to
Oh,
express.
I appreciate you appreciating us. Because I'll tell you what, it's one of those things that when you don't, it makes a difference to
can't help
know
it.
that it's
Have you
helpful.
met me?
You know what I mean? So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Okay,
Um,
well, glad to hear that in summary, though it may change the way it presents in the annual report, what I heard you say is that gathering it now does support that effort.
Yeah.
Even though it looks different in the family.
Exactly. We're gathering the data anyway. We can change the format pretty easily. Thanks. And then this section on amendments, there was a whole, I don't know why they added amendments as a separate thing, but we're gonna leave that as that. But what I did change was, because the what is it, the remote participation thing totally changed, and in the policy, it says we had to scrap whatever we had and replace it with that, so that's all it is. I just scrapped all that and referenced the city policy. Yeah, there you go. So there's lots of lines, red lines through there. And then I think we just went over Martha's rules. We made no changes, so we'll just pass as is, and there you go. Was that a good enough summary? We didn't read each section
Yeah, no,
line by
that's
line.
great. Any questions, Mary and Lindell? Party. Okay, so we have to approve this again, or I'm gonna do it
Vote on it, right?
Can we vote on it with the changes that we just told you to do? So we don't have to vote on it again?
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
Well, let's be
The rules.
efficient.
Yes.
We've been presented with a written thing that we
Yes.
can vote on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. So we have to do in favor or can live with it or opposed, because it was written to us.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
I'm gonna go with that.
A little straw poll before we do the
Straw
actual.
Oh, you
poll.
straw
Oh,
poll.
straw poll.
Yeah.
I don't know what that
Yeah.
means.
I need to
That
add a
means we do,
column.
it's like not really a
Oh,
vote,
okay,
it's like,
gotcha.
do we actually need to have any discussion?
Ah,
Because if everybody is like yay
Okay.
or nay,
Then we're good.
Then
Alright,
we're good
straw
to go.
poll. Sounds like, think about being a kid and you draw a straw. Sorry. that's what-
Yay.
so. Lindell, Mary,
okay, we're good.
can I get a verbal thumbs up? Okay. Bam,
So it's done.
that's so it is.
No,
tied.
now we.
Now you have to vote.
Because
Okay.
now we have no discussion to be
We
had.
have no discussion. So those are
You
your
didn't know
options.
you were gonna become the parliamentarian.
It's not like a worse job for me on the planet.
So you do in favor, can live with it, and then opposed as you do a roll call, Todd?
Do, or do we do like the regular
Just a
yes?
Do
regular
a regular roll call now.
Regular roll.
Just
The
call.
point
regular-
of that vote was to
Oh,
see, do we actually need to have any discussion?
Oh, there you
If we're
go.
already on the same page.
This is what,
We're already on the same page, so let's just go and vote.
Yeah.
That's cool. So then we're still doing in favor, opposed, or abstained,
that's what I was
right?
just saying.
I
Yeah.
thought you were doing.
Oh, I thought it was
No.
just
Yes.
Okay, I was like, I'm
Yeah.
really confused if that's not what we're supposed to be doing next.
Okay.
No, that is what we're supposed to
Okay.
do next, sorry.
I'm trying to
And so
stand
your
in this.
your options are still in
Your
favor,
options are in
opposed, or
favor,
abstained.
can
Okay.
live with it, or opposed to the proposal.
Okay.
Or is that was not the straw poll
No.
options? That's okay. I'm
You
gonna have
gotta
to.
do straw poll, then, can we print this out, Todd, next time?
We need to. I was just looking at it again. It doesn't say what the type of vote you do. I guess in step 8 there, but or whatever. Step
When we
7.
actually vote, we just vote.
Yeah,
like we
it's
always
just a
It's
do.
just
regular
yes,
vote.
yes, no, or
Regular vote.
abstain, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get it figured
I
out
think
one of these
Whoa.
days.
Jessica, you're referring to number 6, which
Yes,
is the
I
first
am.
vote, and they're referring to number 8, which is the
Or
second
numbers.
vote.
Yeah.
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
As
Okay.
someone who's lived with Robert's rules for all my life.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready
Roll
for
call.
it?
Let's go.
Roll call. Jessica.
In favor, because that's what I want to say.
Nice.
Yes,
I
approve.
like it. Ernest.
In favor?
Okay.
Thank you.
Jeanette.
Yes, I am in favor.
Mary.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Okay. Wolfgang.
In favor.
Okay. Catherine.
Yes.
And Suzanne.
Yes.
Andy.
Yes.
And Lindell, I want to ask you, but we're not actually sure if you're
Yes.
within state code. I'm going to put yes with an asterisk in case somebody questions
There you
whether
go.
you can do this remotely. Thank you.
She's here, Todd. What do you mean?
She is. I don't write state code though. That's the problem.
If someone comes down on Lindell because she's not physically here, because she can't
Someone's gonna make us
physically
have
get
to
here.
do the vote.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because it passed anyway.
passed.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. We did it.
We did it. Let's scroll back up to see where we need to do next.
No, yeah, whatever.
Work session updates.
Work, okay, that is, okay. Catherine.
Turns out I'm doing the work session updates. So
Because
I,
you're the de facto chair.
I apparently am. So at our work session, we mostly discussed attending meetings of housing-related organizations. We thought we would want to do that. We don't really need to vote on that, do we? We just
No.
are gonna do
Okay.
it. So updating that and to refresh everyone's memory, the purpose of attending these meetings is to listen, to bring information back to the commission, so that one, we understand the issues, and two, we are aware of issues in a more timely manner so that we can identify things that we may want to act on, mostly by amplification of the issue to city council. Someone, Victoria or someone, I can't remember who, made a beautiful list.
Suzanne.
Oh, Suzanne! Oh, sorry, Suzanne made a list in Teams, which I was able to access. And
Well, yeah, good for you. I haven't been able to
I was
access it in
able to
Teams, but I
access
can see
You,
it.
you can't open it.
There's a code. I need to come back to you on a code. I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can go to the list, I don't know if anybody else has done it, and click through and sign up
Yeah.
for meetings. Moving forward, we still have some outstanding groups. Click for example, is I'm gonna have to, I think, have an actual discussion with Emily Dreyfus about whether or not it's appropriate for us to send a liaison to Click. And I will follow up on that. And then, was it at our last work session, Mary, that you presented
Yes.
your,
What was it in the, I think it was in our regular meeting.
I actually just sent it by email. I think the session before I promised to do it, and then I sent it by email, but we never, addressed it.
Well, we addressed it that you were gonna refine
Oh.
it to make it where. they
Yeah,
are.
I'm sorry I didn't do that, but I will be glad to do that.
okay?
Thank you. So that,
No,
I'm sorry.
I don't think, I don't think there are any other updates from
so
that
the
work
action
session.
item is for us to go in and assign ourselves to be liaisons for ones that fit our schedule. Or interests.
Yes.
Okay.
And is the Housing Advisory Committee on that Teams document? I don't remember.
It's not on there.
No.
Is it not on there?
Okay.
So we should add that because I believe there was a request, someone said they could attend a daytime meeting.
I can.
Right, so that is a noon on the third Wednesday situation. Although when I looked online, I could see the date that the March meeting and the date that the April meeting. I did not see a date for a May meeting, and I don't see agendas from any other months other than those two. So do you have any more information about them?
I remember looking, I think you're right about the time, because I had a placeholder on my calendar for it for a long time, because I was going to those. And then, but I have trouble finding them on the city calendar.
Yeah, so I found
Yeah.
those on the city website,
Mhm.
although I wasn't looking on the calendar.
That's where I was looking. Yeah.
Anyway.
What would be
Next one is
helpful?
tomorrow.
What do you need that I could find out for you?
Well, I'm just wondering, are they actually,
The
Are
meeting
they
is there,
tomorrow.
is there an upcoming
Are
meeting?
they actually
Tomorrow.
happening? Yeah.
It's
Tomorrow
tomorrow?
at noon.
Okay,
And
Okay,
it's
is it on
showing
the
that it's
calendar?
happening?
If you look on the
Okay.
agendas and minutes and filter for Housing Advisory Committee, it shows up.
Oh, that's the way to
if
do
you
it.
go to the page for the Housing Advisory Committee,
It
it
does not
doesn't
show up.
Wait, but not
Oh.
Correct.
tomorrow?
Tomorrow
Silly
at
of
noon.
So Fridays?
It's tricky.
Oh,
Huh, cause
May-
they
well,
were.
it says- wait a second, it
No,
says
no, it should be on a
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
It says Wednesday, May 19th,
well, that's extra
which is,
confusing.
oh, this is 2021. Hold
Oh.
up. May Day. Ignore me. I'm 2
Okay.
years ago. It is not it is not
Okay.
updated.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
okay.
That's what I thought. It was
Yeah.
hard to find, I felt. And
Didn't have to do
sometimes
right
the
away.
name was different. And I think the spelling of it made it hard to
So
find.
if we could get confirmation that those are happening
Okay.
regularly and that they are in fact on the third Wednesday, and then you and I can kind of figure out if it works for one of us, or. Yeah.
is this? I lost track.
Yeah, it's the Housing Advisory Committee.
I'll find out.
The planning commission is on here, and I'm not able to do that, but I am on the steering committee for the Seagull Plans Together, for that, like all the zoning meetings and stuff.
Sure.
So should I add that as a
Yes.
call, as a row?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Add it and sign yourself up.
Just full on dancing.
I mean, it's music. It's better than him.
I don't, it's, my husband told me, and I can't remember who it is.
Did you have anything else to share?
I do not believe, did I forget anything
No,
that
I
happened?
don't think so.
No.
It was quick, a meeting, it was 20
It
minutes.
was, it was.
Do we need to so the next action item on our agenda is decide if we wanna have our next work session meeting, which is in January 1st, I think? June,
1st,
sorry.
I think.
Not in January, June 1st.
Do we have any work to do with that work session?
I don't think so, unless people are meeting between now and then.
Nope, I say we get ready to attend our meetings and be ready to report back at the next Human Rights Commission meeting, right?
Okay.
So-
Agreed.
So we will not need the June 1st meeting talk.
Okay, I'll make a note of that and cancel it. Remy, I'm telling you, and what would be helpful, for you? Just take it off the calendar?
Just remove it from the calendar, yeah.
Okay, I think I can figure out how to do that.
Thank you, Amber.
On June, Todd, on June 5th, when you give a report, is that during the time that the public can be involved in that, or no?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because I just
Think
tried
so?
to see, could I register, but it's not clear how you.
No,
do it,
not at
so
4 o'clock.
You can at 4 o'clock when
I
we're
don't
doing
think so.
It
reports?
doesn't give an option.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting, so like you
Should
can't
there be
even,
an option?
can't even watch it virtually?
No,
Okay, so
I was
quick
wondering
question.
about.
Can there normally be an option to register?
I don't know.
I don't
Okay.
think, I
Yeah.
don't think so.
I think there's something on here that says you can watch, like, you can live stream
Oh, okay.
previous
Can't come in?
meetings.
You can live stream it? Okay.
I mean, it doesn't, I mean, just like the option in general, when you're trying to see what's going on, there's an option to watch previous meetings, but for this one, there's no like, I can't register right now to attend that.
Okay, I don't think, if I'm correct, I don't know that you have to register anymore to come to council meetings. I think you just come in, and it's not a closed session, and they're meeting in person, so I think you can just come in. But I can confirm.
Because I know they're doing special meetings before council. So I
Yeah,
was just wondering about if we could get in on hearing you give a report.
I think
at
you
4
can.
o'clock.
I think it's open to, I think if it's a publicly noticed meeting,
Okay.
they're meeting in person, and it's open to the public. If it's closed session, you can't, but I
Right.
think so. And they took away, I think it was a COVID thing where you had to like register because they could have only but so many people in there because they had limited seating. But I think now you can just go in. And I heard recently that like attendance has been really low, and that might be because people are still figuring out that you can do that, like we're doing right now. So would it be helpful to just confirm how that works and then follow back up? Would that be good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
confirm how I can Zoom
Please?
Yeah, Zoom it and
it. Zoom.
attend in person? Okay.
All right. Now we have, is there public comment? I think I saw John Sales. Hi, John. So does anyone have public comment? I don't understand. Or if he's still there.
His hand is not raised at this time.
So if you want to raise your hand, you can say raise hand function, or if you're on the phone, press star 9. Okay. This was awkward. Commissioner updates, sorry, I did have an update. No, not commissioner, but I am commissioner. So someone's birthday passed by that escaped by, which I think is not okay. So we do have cake for Ernest to celebrate Ernest.
And it's strawberry.
And it's strawberry, like you like.
Oh
When was your
my
birthday?
gosh, the
The
22nd.
22nd. And I'd also like to
Yeah.
honor the mommies in the room or those that stepped in as aunties or in some other figure way. So happy belated Mother's Day.
Oh, y'all are too
Thank you.
kind.
Thank you. All right, I'll yield. Anyone else has commissioner updates?
This is not a commissioner update per se, but I just want to remind us, since we're going to meetings and then going to be updating the commission, we really need to get a written report. So it doesn't have to be long, but a couple of bullet points of whatever you want us to know should come in writing.
As we come back from liaisons, or yes.
Yes,
And then-
before the meeting, so it can go into
Got it.
our meeting packet.
The agenda packet? Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
great. Yeah. that would
And I
be-
don't think we need to do like a summary of the entire meeting. I think we just need to say we attended this meeting and here is whatever is important for the commission to know.
Highlights, yeah.
Yeah.
How would you like us to send those out? Just an email blast or?
Email to.
Good question.
right?
So, yeah, if you want to just send it to the HRC group, then I will log those and drop them in the folder that I used to build the agenda packet. So
Sounds good.
you can see it in advance, but then I can also put it in the packet. If that makes sense. Yeah, good.
Anyone else?
Actually related, I attended the DSA meeting last night, and they are hosting a training event for anybody who wants to do housing justice canvassing on June 10th at 1 p.m. And I can circulate the details if
Yes.
anybody's interested.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yes.
And I did that
I know.
last week, and I would like to say I think it is worth doing.
Yeah, they canvassed 75 people last week alone, so it's a lot of people doing good work.
that reminded me, I think I mentioned last time that we have, Legal Aid Justice comes once a month and uses our conference room while they're having eviction hearings in Charlottesville General District Court. We had the first one of those, and people came down, and people from DSA led them down, which was also good. So I wanted to mention that's good and related to that. Other thing, I don't know, can we introduce you?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, please. Do you want to be introduced? Okay. It's recorded. Go ahead.
Our new executive director of the Police Civilian Oversight Board is here as a member of the public. You want to say a few words and just introduce yourself?
Inez Gonzalez, again, PCOB Executive Director, and no, I'm just happy to be here learning from all of you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Anyone else?
No, just a community shout out. Thank you for watching over Berlin Moran Elementary School and the principal and the family. So just thank you guys very, very much for being as kind as you have been to us. And thank you.
Anyone else? Mary Liddell? Great, so next steps are mainly on Todd's plate. He's gonna bring to the city council and update our rules, HRC rules and procedures, and I will plan to attend, if I can, virtually that meeting to city council. I think that was all, and then
We're gonna sign
the
it.
action,
Oh, sorry.
the action items were for us to go into, the pro-housing, organization liaison list and find if you can be able to attend and add your name to that list. Is that what you're gonna say? I can tell you're used to leaving. All right, if all hearts and minds are clear, we will adjourn at 7:53 PM Eastern. All right.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Lynell. Good night.
Bye, Mary.